everyone. This is NFL Talk from across the pond and back. As Dom just so eloquently put it, he's having a rock and roll day. Why? And how can the Duke of Funk have a rock and roll day? I don't know. But you know what? Lots going on. NFL and otherwise. Dom, like I always say, how are we doing today?
Yeah, as you rightly pointed out, I'm having not today. Not today's definitely not rock and roll. And being a middle-aged father of two, I'm not sure any day is rock and roll ever again. But the clue to how I can have a rock and roll name is in my nickname that you gave me on day one, having never met me before.
You always look like the Duke of Funk. Some specials going on in the UK. Some specials going on around you. Something's going on big. What's the big news? What's the big sporting event that we were just talking about a minute ago?
Lawn Bowls. The King of the Idiots is in the semi-final. I'm assuming that's what you're referring to.
Yeah, that's what I'm referring to.
Or possibly the fact that for the first time in 55 years, the English football team, as in European football team, have reached a major tournament final and are playing tonight at 8 o'clock. We're recording this on the Sunday. The whatever the hell the date is today, the 11th.
The 11th.
And yeah, we're a big game for us tonight. Looking forward to what will hopefully be an England win. And I say looking forward to, I mean, it's going to be nerve-wracking as hell. But, you know, fair play, we've done really well to get this far, and this has not happened in my lifetime. So it's going to be fun.
So it's 55 years since they've been this far in a major event or a major tournament. 55 years. Wow. We're complaining that the Giants haven't won a playoff game in 11 years. I can't see or fathom 55 years. Yeah,
55 years. And ironically, it's at the same stadium, albeit it was being knocked down and rebuilt since then, as where we were last in the final. So,
oh wow!
Hopefully, fingers crossed.
So
Wembley and London will be successful for us.
When was the last time you guys won a championship?
1966.
Oh, so it's the same. It's the same. Okay. So
that was the World Cup. So that was the Super Bowl of European football. Of course. This is like the conference championship game, essentially. So European championships. There's only European teams can enter.
Now, does the soccer season end in Europe after this?
It ended in most of Europe a couple of months back. It ended slightly late because of COVID this year, I think. Right. But it ends, and then there's a slightly weird start to the season where some of the guys that have gone deep into this tournament aren't actually back for the start of the season, or if they're back, they're not ready to play because they've been given a holiday.
Oh.
But some of the colder countries like Scandinavia, so Norway, Sweden, Finland, I think Russia, they might play over the summer because they can't play in deep winter because of the weather. But
now, if they win today, what happens then? Where do they go?
That's it. Job done.
That's it. So job's done. So this is it. So this is the day. So either next week, Dom is going to be really, really, really happy, or really, really sad. That's what you're trying to tell me.
Pretty much. Well, don't
sugarcoat it.
I'm cry if we lose. My son probably will, but he is 6. But
are you letting him stay?
If we lose,
are you letting him stay up to watch?
Yeah, if he can make it, he will stay up. So the school tomorrow let them come in late tomorrow if they need to have a bit of a lie-in, rather than try and teach them really, really tired. So
wow, that's
pretty good. That's
actually awesome that schools will allow that. I mean, they don't do that here for like the Super Bowl. I mean, they should, because I need a day. Back in the day, I used to need a couple days off after the Super Bowl.
Try watching at our time.
Yeah, that's true. I always forget about that. But you know what? Not that I don't love European football. But this show
we get on to the main event.
This show is called NFL Talk from across the pond and back. And just saying that, I'm going to even take this a totally different direction. I know you don't follow college football a lot because you don't really follow it much over in the UK. You don't get a lot of the games that we get. I mean, I can get anywhere between 20, 30 games a weekend here in the States. But I don't know if you heard the news. Right now, of course, college athletes, and this is more towards particularly football athletes, do not get paid. They are amateurs. They don't get paid. Well, it came up in Texas, Alabama, and a couple other places where they're going to start allowing college players to get paid, for boosters to pay them, for them to take on sponsorships from other from companies, or do certain things so they can maintain a life balance by getting some money and still going to college. And this has been going on for years in the NCAA about guys being entertainers and getting paid, but it's always been considered an amateur sport, and I still think it should be. My thing is this, and I wanted to kind of get your opinion from a financial perspective, because you handle the finances on this show. I mean, to me, paying college football players to come to your program, and allowing the boosters to get, now coaches can't get involved and say, we're going to give you X money, but the boosters can. And also these kids can go out now and get their own sponsorships. To me, in a lot of ways, this is going to really hurt college football and basketball especially, because all the top schools with all the deep pockets are going to be after all the recruits, and there's going to be really no mid-major kids going to these smaller schools or middle-of-the-road schools, because they're not going to be able to give them the paycheck that these bigger schools can give them now. I mean, from your perspective, what do you feel about paying college athletes? I mean, is it in my mind, are they still amateurs, or are they now professionals? Because they're going to have to pay taxes on this money. And one of the other things I was thinking, and I wasn't sure how that would work out, if they are given a scholarship, couldn't that also be considered part of their employment package? And now can their scholarships be taxable by state and governments? I mean, I don't know what your thought. I mean, to me, like I said, it's just going to wreck college football, because, like I said, you already have an unfair balance with like teams in Alabama and Georgia and Florida and Texas. But now, to me, it seems like it's going to be even more of an unfair advantage, just because they got the deeper pockets out of anyone in the NCAA.
I mean, on your scholarship point, I've very quickly checked the IRS rules and documentation, and I think you'll find that on page 176, paragraph 3, subsection C, you'll find clear guidance on. By the way, if that's right,
that would be awesome, though. I'd be like, yeah, well, we were an informative show.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not close to the college game. I'm familiar when you sort of come up to a sort of draft process, and the months in advance of that, you sort of start hearing the names, and you can see YouTube clips or whatever of these players. But to be honest with you, that makes it a YouTube compilation of them. They're not going to show the bits they do wrong.
Right,
so,
of course.
So you're familiar with those games, and you're familiar with the top colleges. My view is, look, I've said it before. One of the reasons I like the NFL is there is an attempt for parity across the league.
Right.
There are some franchises with a natural advantage over because of the area they're in.
But the salary cap kind of
would you rather be in New York
that,
or would you rather be in Green Bay? And I'm nothing against, people that live in that area. It's just, there's more to do in New York, I would imagine. So therefore, most players will probably want to be there. You've got the tax system. You might pay less tax, and therefore you generally earn more, in Florida than you do in, California or whatever it is. So I think there is an attempt to level it. And my view on this, and I'm not obviously an expert on this, is very similar to yours. While I don't begrudge any players getting paid, it is the fact that actually you already have natural advantages in Alabama and Georgia and what have you over, these smaller colleges. And I do think it will just make them, they're already the best teams, and they're just going to get even better because they can, pay these guys. For me, I wonder I don't necessarily think it makes them fully professional. I think it probably makes them semi-professional because they're not going to get the big bucks like in the NFL, and they're still going to be part-time in some extent because they'll still be doing their college stuff.
But here's the thing, though. There's no way to be semi-pregnant. You're either pregnant or you're not pregnant. So if these kids are getting, there's a kid right now. He just signed, and I forget, it's college basketball. I don't remember the kid's name. He just signed a letter of intent to go to a school. And in the process, he's a top 5 guy. And he just also signed with a company that is sponsoring him for $500,000 a year over the next 4 years. That to me sounds like you're a professional.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about big money there, and you're still a professional. But what I mean, so again, in sports over here, you can be a semi-professional, by which Monday to Friday you're a postman, and then on Saturday you pay and you play and you get paid £100.
But do you pay taxes on that money?
Yeah, I would imagine so.
So you're a professional.
I never progressed beyond paying to play, so we could cover the kit and the hire. And actually, I must say, genuinely, we had an arson attack at my kids' junior football club, and we lost a lot of our equipment over the weekend. So, anyone listening that does that contributed to the significant amount of money we fundraised in the last 48 hours since the incident happened. A big thank you in case there is anyone listening to this for that. But yeah, you pay to play, but I never progressed beyond that. But yeah, you're talking small amounts of money here. Right. You're talking about thousands of dollars a year, which probably takes you beyond the semi-professional. But what I mean is you're not fully professional because you're still doing your education whilst, preparing for what you hope will be life in the NFL afterwards. I mean, I have less issue with the sponsorship for these guys. If a company wants to pay them, I have less of an issue for that, so they get their money. I think it's the ability for a team to pay them as if they are playing for them. I think that's where the disadvantage comes in. And my view would be, if you want to introduce money for these college kids, and I'm definitely not against that, company X wants to pay them, $50,000 a year for the next 4 years while they're at college to wear whatever branding they have to wear. That's fine, as long as you don't have to be at this college and you don't have to be on this team, and that's it. Because that just incentivizes it and makes it an unfair advantage, or an even more unfair advantage than teams actually have. And that, for me, is the way I would look to do it, rather than whoever can pay that player to play for them. And that might be the better balance, in my view, on how to sort of strike that balance. But that is with no thought, because as always, we prepare mightily for this show.
Well, my theory is this: even going back to the late 80s, professional sports didn't pay like it pays now. So a lot of these guys worked in the off season. A lot of these, I remember some guys that were on the Mets that were baseball team that were stockbrokers in the 80s because they weren't making any money playing baseball. So, I mean, to me, it doesn't matter if you make $1 or if you make $500,000. You get paid to play a sport. You are a professional. And so this is where I don't understand the blurring of the rules for amateur athletes, because the one thing they say about an amateur athlete is you are not paid. You are an amateur. And that's why, and actually I want to look up the tax code just in all seriousness, because you bring up an excellent point. It is now a scholar.
I think I was referencing page 147.
146. I just looked it up. But to me,
I might have a different version to you.
Yes, yours probably outdated. I might
have an extra blank page in.
I'm more up to date. But to me, if you automatically get paid to do something, you're a professional. So if someone's offering you now a scholarship, to me, it's no longer a scholarship. It is part of your compensation package, which you should pay taxes on, because you are no longer an amateur. You are now a professional. And I hate to break this to people, but I have a feeling there are going to be states, and I think the government will get involved soon and say, hey, listen, this kid's getting $120,000 or whatever it is for a 4-year education. They're giving it to him for free. He should pay taxes on it, because now he's making $500,000 a year to play a game in college where he's going to go for free when he could pay for his own tuition.
Yeah. I mean, I think from that point of view, you're absolutely right. Like, but it
wait, I was right.
Part of the package.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to. I was right.
From that point of view, I think that you're absolutely right on that scholarship front, and I would imagine it would have to be part of their tab. But from my point of view, whether you do or don't, I think that would be the way around. I would be looking at it as sponsorship. Okay, I'd rather not, but okay. But the team, the college itself, no financial contributions, and it can't be part of that contract with company.
Well, the problem is that they're saying now that even the boosters can give these kids money.
Yeah, how do the boosters work? I wasn't quite sure what that was.
Well, the boosters basically what they are, they're former alum who support the team.
Yeah.
And basically what they do is they give money to the school. And that's what all they're supposed to do. Not supposed to, and a lot of times the big name boosters help recruit kids, but they're not allowed to give them money. And a lot of things, what happens is, even going back in the day, the boosters used to give people, under the table, of course. They would give them jobs and they wouldn't show up for the jobs and they would just give them money. And that's how programs get what they refer to as a death sentence here when they take away all their scholarships because the boosters did something wrong. So that's basically what the boosters do. So now they're saying that even boosters are allowed to give these players money, that the school can't come out and say, hey, listen, Dom, the Duke of Funk of Duke and Funk Industries is going to give you $700 a week to come to the school. They can't say that. But they can have them now talk directly to the boosters, who then can say, "Hey, we're gonna pay you X amount to come play ball here."
Yeah, and again, I wouldn't be a fan of it. Look, ideally, I would rather see these guys that they're well looked after at college. A lot of them are on scholarships, etc., etc. I would imagine, which significantly reduces their potentially down to nothing, maybe their tuition fees, which are not insignificant. And they've got a chance for a future career and to showcase themselves in a way that no one else here. If I went and did a degree in business, I don't get a chance, 12 weeks a year, whatever it is, to go and show off in front of, the top 100 businesses in the UK or the US and go, hey, look at me. So I have to go and fight through an application process to get there. And so these guys, that's how the draft works. But they have got film and what have you, and you've got a brilliant opportunity to showcase what you're talking about and actually go, hey, I did this and here's the evidence, and you can see it on film, as opposed to I did this and here you're going to have to take my word for it and what have you. So I think they do have some significant advantage, and that's why I'm finding the system as it works in theory. But for me, if you are going to do this, and I like I said, I'm not against these kids getting paid at all, then it's got to be just sponsorship and there can be no connections. And the same with the boosters. No, I wouldn't be wanting that in, because it just really gives these big
colleges the advantage,
an even bigger advantage than they already have.
Right. Well, let's get out of college football, because I want to go in the NFL, because I want to talk about the New England Patriots. I want to talk about our friend, the king of the idiots' favorite team. And I call him my friend because only a friend could call somebody an idiot. But of course, the wide receiver from this team, Mr. Harry, a gentleman out of Arizona State, has been with the Patriots for 2 years, former first-round pick, kind of hasn't done anything. He's kind of broken out of what they refer to as the Patriot way, to the fact that some people are saying that Bill Belichick has lost the locker room, because Harry has gone out and basically, now this guy has kind of been, like I said, he's kind of been a huge disappointment since he was taken in 19. I don't remember. I think he's got something like 45 catches or something like that in 2 years. And so he just hasn't played well. But he has gone outside the ranks. He's gone out the chain of command. His agent has gone out and said publicly that they want to trade from the New England Patriots. Now, I personally do not feel, because they basically just went around Belichick to do this. They went around Big Bill. And like I said, some people are saying that this is kind of, that's ever since Tom Brady has left a year ago, that Belichick does not have the same style, the same panache, the same control over the locker room. And for an ancillary guy like Harry to come out and demand a trade in the press, I mean, what do you think? Do you think Belichick has lost it? Is he doomed in New England after all the championships?
So I have thoughts on Harry, actually, and I'll come back to him in a second. But to your point on Belichick, I mean, the answer is I don't know. No one can know. Do I think just because one player has gone outside the chain of command that means he's lost the dressing room or locker room, whatever? No, I don't. I don't think one swallow doesn't make a summer. Which is lucky because we haven't seen a single swallow yet over here. This year it's rained pretty much every day for God knows how long. But what you can say, but yeah, I don't necessarily think you can say that. What I do think is when you lose a player like Brady and Brady and Belichick, you can argue who's responsible for what all day long. For me, I think they're both responsible for I'd say the miracle that happened there. That success doesn't happen over that long length of time, and you have to give them both credit for that, as well as the other guys. But they were the main leaders. And when you lose someone like a Brady out of a dressing room, and there will be other players around the league who's sort of similar, that does take some time to replace. And Belichick's also got to figure out a way of how I imagine that almost everything came through him and maybe a couple of others, Hightower or Gilmore or something, in that locker room. And you lose someone like Brady, it's going to take time to replace that. But also, I think there is an element of a cultural change going on in New England as well, where they are looking to actually change the way they do things slightly, both in terms of what they do on the field, but also in terms of maybe a little bit off the field, where you don't go from Brady to Newton unless you're going to make some kind of sort of transitional change in culture. And that doesn't happen overnight. So no, I don't necessarily think he's lost the locker room. I could look silly in 12 months' time when the Patriots go, 5-12 or whatever, and no one wants to play for Belichick, and they're all demanding trades, and he's not going to play for each other. But I don't necessarily think that that's going to happen, and I don't think he's lost the locker room at this moment in time just because Harry wants to trade. But I also can't understand why he doesn't want to trade at this point. But there we go. I don't know what you think on that, but I did have thoughts on Harry's stance here.
He's played in 21 games. He's got 45 receptions. He's averaging under 10 yards a reception. And he had, his first season was with Brady, and then he had Cam. I mean, I don't know. I think a guy like that, to in some ways, should just be lucky that he's still in the NFL. especially if you're supposed to be a breakout wide receiver and you don't even average 10 yards a reception. There's something wrong there.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think there are attributes there, and I think there's probably still a player there. Do I think that's the wide receiver one that they probably wanted and expected from him, given where they picked him? 100% no. He's not made that. I don't also think he's a complete disaster at this point. But my view would be, you're going to demand a trade, and I'm going to ask you in a minute where you think he might end up. But you demand the trade, and you haven't got necessarily the body of work behind you, and you're going in there, and you look at that wide receiver core in New England, and it's definitely improved in terms of depth, and I would probably argue it's improved in terms of actually ability with Bourne and the other one. I can never pronounce his name. I want to call him Abong Lahore, but he was a
right. I can't pronounce his name either. That's why I stayed quiet.
But you know who I mean.
Yeah.
Because that's not his name. But you'd probably think there's a chance here that you're the wide receiver too, and a real genuine chance to compete for wide receiver too. And you can say, okay, Brady, year one, I was a rookie, getting up to speed. Last year, COVID season, new quarterback, new system. Actually, do you know what? I know I can play. And I'm not saying that, I'm not using him as an excuse. I'm just saying, in my mind, I'd be going, look, I've not hit the heights I know I can hit. These are some of the reasons behind it, but I have no excuse this year, and I know I will deliver. There's a great chance to go and compete for wide receiver two there. Elsewhere in the league, where you're going, any team that's in a chance of winning something or going postseason, you're wide receiver three at best, but given the body of work that's behind you. And you're probably competing for wide receiver three spot. So I don't understand why he's asking to go at this point, unless Belichick's told him you're on the bubble and you're going to be wide receiver four if you're lucky, or something like that. And he's going, no, I'm better than that. Unless something like that's happened, I don't understand why he's not competing.
He's also missed 10 games in 2 years. At a total of 32 games, he's played in 22.
Yeah.
So I think injuries and that's the thing. I think injuries have an involvement in his progression. But I also think if you can't stay on the field, then you're going into year 3. I mean, honestly, to your point, what have you done that warrants you demanding a trade when the team took you late in the first round with the 32nd overall pick? You haven't been fully healthy in 2 seasons. Instead of demanding a trade in the situation that you're in, especially with what's his name, the Josh McDaniels, the genius offensive coordinator that you allegedly have over there. I mean, wouldn't you want to show your wares before? Because to me, you demanding a trade and Belichick's thinking maybe he can get like a 6th or 7th round pick for you because you haven't really met your potential. It's not really it's not really the organizational or the organization's thought process to take a loss from a 1st to 32nd overall pick to getting a 7th round pick for a guy when potentially he could play and play better, but your profit loss there is going to be hard in reference to where this guy was drafted unless you think he cannot play at all.
Yeah, I know it doesn't make sense. I mean, as you say, I mean, if I'm honest with you, would I be trading for him? I can't see I would in many situations at this point, unless there was a horror injury in training camp and you're having that. But I'd be waiting to see if he's waived.
Yeah, there's a couple teams. I mean, if
there are a couple of teams, but I'd be waiting to see if he's waived in most teams.
I mean, if you think like, I mean, a team like the Bears, because all they have is, I mean, outside of Allen Robinson, I can't think of anyone else they have.
No, and I wondered whether the Bears would go for him, given the assets they gave up to trade up for Fields, whether they want to be giving up more. But if you're giving up a 7th round pick for him, then that's a really low risk pick.
Yeah, it's a low risk. And I think the team, what's the, oh boy, you know, that's tough. I mean,
I've got a few. Well, because you threw one out last week, and I had to put it back to you while I had a quick thing. I've got a couple in my head.
The only team I can think of was like the Saints, because they only have Thomas and the kid from UCF.
Yeah.
So Taquan, I can't think of his name.
Yeah, him. I know exactly who you meant. I can't pronounce his name either.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, because like plus what's Sean Payton. New system, also going to probably go in with the new quarterback. I mean, they don't have any depth in wide receiver outside of that. But maybe those two teams are the only two that I can really even just. I can't even think of anyone off the NFC East.
Well, I've got a couple of others, but I mean, to your point on the Saints at the moment, they're going to have to be run heavy. I would assume that Jameis Winston will start for them, and he's going to throw that ball. And in fairness to N'Keal Harry, he's not a terrible 50-50 threat either. Right. And with Winston throwing, based on how he played a couple of years back, you're going to be going for a lot of 50-50 balls.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think there is some logic there. The other ones I had were three other teams, and in no particular order. I wonder whether the Packers might go for him and say, "Hey, Aaron, we got you another weapon, potential weapon here. See what you can do with him."
I don't see Green Bay wasting the asset.
Happening.
Yeah.
I don't think so, and I don't think that suits Rodgers as
well. I was going to say that doesn't. Rodgers needs a breakaway guy, and this if you're a 6'2", whatever you are, and you are a possession wide receiver, that's not gonna thrill Aaron. That's not going to make him love Green Bay.
in that scenario, that's one about trying to play the fans, right? And go, hey, look. We've reached out to him, we've offered him this, and we went and got him a weapon that he's asking for. Might not be the right weapon, and I don't necessarily buy that. But PR-wise, that might be something I'd be looking at if I was Green Bay. But I agree with you on the field. I don't think it makes perfect sense there. But the other two I had were the Eagles, but I don't necessarily see them giving up draft capital for him when they are in full rebuild. But if it's a 6th, 7th round pick, they may well think, do you know what? With his potential upside, that's worth it there. But the one I really thought that might go for him would be the Lions, because their wide receiver 2 is St. Brown. I checked it in the week, funnily enough, when this came up, and I was bored. But he's a 4th round rookie.
Yeah.
I can't remember where it came up, but someone was asking about who the hell of Detroit's wide receivers, and I looked it up, which is how I remember this. Otherwise, I wouldn't know it. But yeah, they have no depth, and I mean no depth whatsoever there, and maybe they might look at it.
Yeah, I can't even think who the hell is even on the Detroit line. Megatron's not there anymore, right?
I don't think
Calvin Johnson's not there anymore, right? I think he retired. Oh my God, who is on the Lions, the wide receivers? I can't.
I'm just looking up now. This is how bad it is. I only remember his name. I
can't even think of one guy. I mean,
but I can't actually remember who their wide receiver 1 is now.
I mean, and it's not like I follow the Lions, but usually I could think of one guy. That's a wide receiver. I mean, I know they have, what's his name, the tight end, Hawkinson. I know they have him.
Yeah, they got Tyrell Williams, Perryman.
I would say is Perryman still there?
Yeah.
We have the wife calling in here. We're gonna have to let her know that. Hold on 1 second. We're gonna have to let her know that I'm on the phone.
Want me to do some hold music while
I know
we wait?
we gotta hold on 1 sec. Hold on 1 second here. I gotta hit pause a second. All All right, we're back again. My wife had a very important question. She wanted to know what I wanted from Wendy's. I'm still trying to think of wide receivers. I cannot think of anything. I cannot think of any wide receivers outside of Perryman.
But I mean, if you are going genuinely, if you're the Lions, you're giving up, even call it a 4th round pick for Harry, right? And I don't think he's getting that. You're probably adding quite significantly to what is an incredibly poor wide receiving core. I mean, Jared Goff, geez, what is he going to vote in this year?
Well, they took 2 guys in the draft, didn't they? Didn't they take the kid out of? Well, they took the kid out of USC. I can't remember what you just said his name, and I can't remember. And I think they took the guy out of Wake Forest.
Yeah, they took some Brown, but I was just. Yeah,
I mean, I'm not saying 2 rookies are going to turn the league on fire. I'm not saying that, but I don't know. I can't. To me, it's the Harry situation is just a bad situation. The Harry situation, as we like to say here in the States, it's getting hairy because of the fact that he's, I don't know, demanding stuff from Bill Belichick. I don't know if that's the way to go in your career.
I mean, to be fair, the history suggests that you're going to come out really well out of it.
Well, I don't know. Belichick has let some guys go, and it's kind of funny that he's let some guys go when people gave him crap, and they turned out that he was not. He did the right thing. That he cut these guys loose just at the right time. And
I was being sarcastic.
Oh, I know, but I'm just for other people to don't understand our sarcasm. But he's done some things, like I said, and recently I can't think of. I mean, he's also held on to some guys he probably should have cut.
Well, but what coach or GM hasn't, right? And also, sometimes you can have a player and they don't work for you, and they go somewhere else and end up boarding. That happens in every sport and every club. Like, if any fan of any club says they've never ever made a mistake, either getting someone in or letting someone go, you're either 2 weeks old as a club or you're delusional.
Right. Well, yeah, that's true. That's true too. I was looking at some news here, and evidently Blake Martinez of the New York Giants is diving into the business of Pokemon collecting.
Good for him. What's Pokemon? I mean, I know what it is actually, but
they had that thing that
it shows how slow things are at the moment, and that's news.
I know, but I just laugh because they have that. They used to. I don't know if they still have it. That Pokemon Go, where you walked around with your cell phone and you try.
My mate Dan does that. And he's racking up like 90 kilometers a week. He said he enjoys it, but actually, from the fitness point of view, he's like absolutely smashing it. And he says it's worth even going just because of how fit he's becoming from walking.
I don't know, man. I would rather run than walk around with my phone trying to catch an imaginary Pokemon and stepping in the traffic.
Me too, if I'm honest.
if I'm honest,
I'm not you going. Then then fair play. Speaking of which, I will have to go for a run tonight because I should have gone yesterday, but I really couldn't be bothered.
Well, you don't have a lot of time to go for a run, man. You got.
Yeah, I don't run very far, so it's all right. I run quickly, but not far. My wife runs far, but not quickly.
That's why you're perfect together.
We can't go at the same time anyway because of the kids. So
I was going to say, what are you doing with the kids? All right, but let's keep this talk what it's supposed to be. NFL. I'm out of topics. So we're gonna turn it over to Dom early. It's 44 minutes in. It's not that early.
Yeah, I have a couple of quick topics then.
Quick topics.
Yeah, so I'm going to very quickly revisit last week's AFC East because I don't actually think you made your prediction on the show for how you thought that was going to shake out. I nailed my colours to the mast.
I forgot. What was your besides getting the math wrong? What was your prediction for the AFC East? I forgot.
I had Bills 1, and then I have Patriots and Finns, and I could go either way on them, but I did go Patriots Finns somewhere around the 10 and 7, 11 and 6 mark. But I had it Patriots, then Dolphins, and then I had the Jets coming in last. Even though I think they've improved.
Huh. Well, we did, this is a Dom segment, so we did forget to do something.
Draft, baby. Yeah.
Dom's lightning round.
And there was me thinking I'd gotten away with it.
Never.
If it wasn't for you pesky kids.
Never. I'm actually going to pull a shocker here. And I'm going to say Number 1.
The Jets are taking the division.
No. I didn't say a heart attack. I said a shocker.
How many do you think the Jets might take, by the way? Because last week
I'm going to say 4. I'm still saying 4 games.
You can guarantee everyone wins in division, and I think they'll get a couple of wins.
I'm thinking they're going to win 4. I don't think they're winning a division game. I really don't.
I had 5.
I think I don't think any division games. But I'm going to pull a shocker here. I am going. Do you want my? I'm going to go Jets. Number 4.
Yeah, I was going to say you're going bottom up. Yeah,
I'm going bottom up. I'm going Pats. I'm going Bills, and then I'm going Miami.
Bold.
Book it. Write it down. I don't know, man. I got a feeling about the Finns. I don't know why. And I think it's going to be a slugfest. I think 2 teams are coming out of that division into the playoffs. I think there's going to be a wild card. And I have a feeling it's going to go down to the wire between the Bills and the Finns. And I think the Giant Finns game is going to be a big game. Because I think for the Finns, that is going to be a divisional lead game for them. Not that they're playing a divisional team, but a team that will help, a game that will help, if they can win, will help them capture the division.
I think, we've said it before, that's going to be an incredibly tight division. The one thing I will correct myself from, and I could be wrong on what I said last week because I haven't listened back, but I think I said that I thought only 1 team was coming out of the division. I actually think 2 will come out.
I did ask you the question last week.
A lot of games outside division, but I think there will be a lot of tit for tat in division. Right. I think the Jets will take 2 divisional games, funny enough.
Who are they going to beat?
Normally themselves.
Yeah.
I think they will win. I think they will win 2 home games, and I think they will beat. Funny enough, I think they beat the Bills, and then I think they will probably beat. I don't think they beat the Pats. I think they will beat the Dolphins, and I think that's what will cost the Dolphins. But I think those top 3, you can throw a blanket over them. They're going to be close, but I think the Bills will take it, and then after that, it's a toss of a coin. And I don't think the Bills will take it by much.
No, like I said, to me, it's going to be a slugfest between the 2 going down to the wire. But I just have the feeling I don't trust the quarterback situation in New England. I don't trust Zach Wilson. I think Buffalo's got too good of a defense. I think if Josh Allen, I don't think Josh Allen. I would like to see Josh Allen progress a little bit more, but if he stays status quo, I think he'll be good for that team. But I just have a feeling with that defense in Miami, with the wide receiver they picked up in the draft, and I think Tua. I don't know why, but I have faith in Tua. And I don't know why.
Do you know, I do. So I think there's question marks about 3 of the quarterbacks in that division. And we won't spend long on this because we covered them last week. But I think Wilson coming out of the draft is I thought he was one of the better ones, but there's no guarantees. And that franchise has ruined so many quarterbacks.
Right.
The situation isn't ideal for him. But I think Tua will progress this year. I think my question mark over the Dolphins is how healthy they stay because they picked up a lot of injury prone in inverted commas, but potential injury players with potential fitness issues in the draft. If they all stay healthy, I can see them really competing for the division. And I certainly will come ahead of the Pats. But Tua is a second-year quarterback. Wilson is a rookie quarterback. I think Allen is absolutely fine. And Cam, while it's only his second year in New England and isn't the Cam of MVP when he was in the Panthers, is still very, very capable. And I think he will beat out Mac Jones. I think if the Patriots go with Mac Jones for any length of time, then they will.
There's going to be problems.
They will finish 3rd. And if they go for him all season, Bill Belichick will buy them 3 or 4 wins, so they'll still finish ahead of the Jets. But they could be going, I would say 8-8, but of course there's 17 games now as a best case scenario. But I think if Newton's healthy for the season and plays even anywhere near not his best, but a higher level than he did last year, and I think he will. Then I think there's enough about New England to get them into second. But I just wanted your views on that because we didn't cover it last week.
No, we didn't.
Well, we covered the division, but I didn't get your take on the top 4. I let you off the hook, so I wanted to quickly revisit. But
I appreciate that.
But yeah. I have 2 more, but I'm going to save one for my final thoughts. So my other one, and I'm just looking at my couple of notes I jotted down.
Topic number 2.
Draft, baby. Yeah.
You're going to do that every time.
Yeah.
Can you name, I saw something, and I hadn't actually thought about it, but which of the NFL teams currently, and I'm not counting Las Vegas here because they've moved sort of cities or even the Chargers, but which current franchises haven't made the Super Bowl? And I'm wondering whether one of them has a really decent shot that's never made the Super Bowl of making the Super Bowl this year.
Well, let's see. Detroit Lions.
Yeah,
and
they're not making it this year.
The Jacksonville Jaguars have not made the Super Bowl.
Correct.
So let me think here. Let's see. Go through the divisions. The Vikings made it. The Rams, of course, have made it. The Buccaneers have made it. The San Diego Superchargers. Oh no, the Los Angeles Chargers or whatever they are made it. Let me think. The Carolina Panthers made it. Well, I'm drawing a blank outside of the two off the top of my head. Let's see. The Ravens have made it. The Bengals have even made. The Bengals have made two. So that's even more surprising. The Eagles, like I said, the Eagles just made it a couple of years back, so we have to delete them from the list. Who is going to be a team that never gone to the Super Bowl that is potentially going to be a Super Bowl team? I don't know. I can't think of any off the top of my head.
The two you're missing are the Texans, who.
The Texans. Well, I never thought they'd be a Super Bowl team.
But the Browns. Can the Browns make it this year? I don't think they will. But I think they're. You know
what's amazing about the Browns?
There's a good chance. Yeah, the Browns are the fourth.
They've pretty much been in this league since the inception of the league, and they have never gone to a Super Bowl. I don't even know if they've gone. No, they've gone to NFL championships because they won with Jim Brown. But wow, yeah, the Giants beat them in the '60s for a championship as well. But wow, you know, I don't know if the Browns. You know what, the Browns.
I don't think they're going to the Super Bowl, but I do think they are going to be a threat this year, and I think they will go. As long as they don't beat themselves in the typical Browns way, like, I said it about the Jets earlier, but the Browns do have a habit of beating themselves. But I think Stefanski has his head switched on. I think they've got a decent defense. They have an elite running game. I think they have wide receivers, and they don't have an elite quarterback, and they don't even have a quarterback that thinks he is as good as he thinks he is in Mayfield. But he's a decent enough quarterback.
Right. He's a decent enough quarterback to win. He can win games.
He can win games.
He's proven that.
This is going to sound a massive disservice to someone like Brady, but if he can just game manage like Brady can, that's all he has to do.
Yeah, but the problem is he's not
could go far.
He's not a game manager. Yeah, he's not a game manager. I mean, they have I don't want to say an easy division to take, but they can easily take their division. And you know what they say? Once you get in the playoffs, anything can happen. I mean, who thought the Giants were going to win in 2007? And honestly, who thought they were going to win in 2011? I mean, everyone can say now they knew, but back then nobody knew. No one thought, especially in 2007, no one thought that team was going to go to the Super Bowl. And then they put together that 4-game run that they did. I mean, that's and I'm counting the New England last game of the season against New England. But that's just. It's just the way it is. I mean, that's
you even look at the Bucs last year, and look, the Bucs were a good team, but they got hot at the right time, right?
Yeah, I mean, and that's all that matters in this league is when you get hot. Is when do you turn that switch on? Yeah, but I always forget the Browns, and like I said, the Browns have just been around forever. You just assume
that they went to a Super Bowl that long. They must have made it once.
Yeah, they must have made it one time.
Yeah, they haven't. And I don't think they're going to make it this year either. I do think that they are a formidable force this year. I think, I don't hope they make it. But at the same time, I wouldn't be crying if they were the team to make it, because I do think that they're building a good roster there and a good team. And that, like I say, that running game is good. The defense is decent enough. I think they will be, but will the weight of history and all that sort of thing sort of rain down on them and go, people, they get to the postseason, people start going, is this the year they can finally break the dark? And I wonder whether that will have too much of an impact on either the fans or enough of the locker room to make that an issue. But yeah, I think they're a decent side, and I think they go far. But yeah, I wondered your thoughts on that, and For once, I managed to get a trivia question you didn't know the answer to.
Yeah, I could have gotten it if I was thinking. I just wasn't thinking.
I didn't give you enough time.
You didn't give me enough time. I would have gotten the Texans. The Texans. It was funny because I was actually about to say the Texans, but I was thinking in my head. I was like, did the Texans ever go? Because I was like, no, the Texans never went. Because I knew out of the teams that just recently came into the league that the Jaguars and and Carolina Panthers, out of those two, I knew the Panthers, of course, went to the Super Bowl when they went 15-1, but then I couldn't think of the other third team with the Texans. But I would have.
I got, if it's any consolation, I got the same three as you.
Well, that's because we're off-son. You know what? And that ends Don's lightning round.
Draft, baby. Yeah.
Sorry, I just wanted to throw that in there. Is that thunder? Or is that Dom's final thoughts?
I can do my final thought now.
Yeah, let's wrap it up today because I know you got to get ready for your big game, and I'm actually still in the middle of the move. And like I said, we always try to keep it to this under an hour, and it never works.
No, we must be getting close again.
We are almost at the hour mark. So that's why I was like, I like making it 40. I like making it 58 minutes exactly. But you know what? Let's wrap the show up today, Dom. What is your final thought of the day? What is Dom's final thought?
I need you to stall for 30 more seconds while I think of something.
Wait a minute. You said you had 3 topics and you were using one for your final thought.
Hang on. I want to see if I can make this work.
Oh, God.
Hang on. You'll see why. Building suspense. I should have thought of this earlier, but I didn't. I thought of it. As I said, stall. And now my internet is being slow. Come on, internet. Come on.
You know how this segment's going.
The hamster needs to run faster.
That's how this segment is ending up, Dom.
I know. It's not.
We're flushing this.
I was trying to get the Big Ben bongs to load, which is the famous bell in London.
Wow, you got that kind of power that you can just make it bong anytime you want. Wow.
Well, it's not bonged for nearly 4 years, or not officially. We've had a recording bang out over the London skyline, but it is undergoing repairs. I work in the area, and I've had numerous disappointed tourists asking where it is, and you point to the scaffolding above their heads, and they look like they're about to cry.
That's like going to Disney and finding out that Mickey Mouse is dead.
I know. There's a massive, great big trap that he's stuck in.
Exactly. His neck is snapped. Sorry, that was wrong.
5-year-olds.
That was wrong. Mommy, why is Mickey's neck going to the left?
And this is, and we're allowed to raise children. How? But anyway, having not successfully loaded up the Big Ben bongs, I don't know if you saw this week, an analyst had a hot take, which I don't necessarily disagree with, funny enough, which is that Big Ben's time has come and gone. I don't know. I didn't see the full quote. I don't necessarily think the Steelers will be terrible. I just don't think. I think the division is there this year for it to go away from them.
Right.
But I didn't know if you had thoughts on Big Ben. He's 39 now.
He's 39.
He last year he put up great numbers. I've just looked over where I did actually jot it down. I think he was 33 and 10 in terms of touchdowns to interceptions and nearly 4,000 yards last year. Right. He's still got it, but there's a drop off as the season progresses. He runs out of steam. There we go.
And the clock broke again.
No, the clock broke. I was waiting for the big bong. Bong.
So I'm sorry. What was the question?
Yeah, basically the question was: has Big Ben bong now gone in Pittsburgh?
No, but she sells seashells by the seashore. And how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? I think Big Ben.
Peter Parker is still picking those pickled peppers.
I think Big Ben is done. I think I don't think he's done. I think he's got this. I think this is his last season. And I think that he will still play at a level that will keep the Steelers competitive. But I think there's just so many holes on that team and so many question marks. And Mike Tomlin always does a great job getting his team ready to play. And I understand that wholeheartedly, and I think he will do the same. But there's just, it's one of those things that when you're making a cake, you can only make it as good as the ingredients that you have. And I don't think he's got the ingredients to pull off, a little bit more magic than Tom. I think they're going to be below 500. I think,
they can't be 500 anymore. So
yeah, that's true. I just don't see. I just see it's the end of an era.
The way I agree, I see it right now. They are going to have to be a run-heavy offense. I don't see they've got anything else to do at this point. And I think it's time. And I've given the Eagles in the past credit because I think they've gone straight to rebuild when they should have gone to rebuild, and they acknowledged it and have gone for it.
Oh yeah.
And I don't think the Steelers have acknowledged that it's time for the rebuild now. Yeah. If I'm honest with you, and they're riding with Big Ben for one more year. They didn't draft his replacement. And I think they should have, because I think that would have been perfect. You could have
been smart.
You could have sat him in the games where you think you're going to win. You're playing. I don't know their schedule, but you're playing the Texans or something. You think, win this without Big Ben, and bring in the future, and then look to build around that. And they haven't done it. But like you, I'm a big fan of Tomlin. I think if he ends up losing his job this year, if anywhere around the 7 to 9 mark, I don't think he will.
I don't think he'll lose his job. But I see him going 7-10.
Yeah, if anything around the 7, even 6 and 11, because they're at the point where it's just not there. And we said about our team, fans sort of getting on Garrett's back. He can only work with what he works with, and I think that's escape with Tomlin in Pittsburgh this year. But I think Big Ben is done, and I think they've made a mistake. And that was my view.
I think it's done, and I think it's over. And I think, you know what they say? We're all over for this week from NFL Talk from across the pond and back. I'm squeezing it out because you know what? I got to keep this under an hour because I got to finish moving my furniture. We will see you next week. And again, this is Tim and Dom signing off. And thanks for watching and listening.